Hey, what's up? I don't even know who I'm talking to. This is a live stream and there's zero people in it, so I'm talking to myself. But I wanted to try the live streaming capabilities of my channel, so I figured I would have an impromptu Q&A and see if anyone joins. And if no one joins, then whatever. I'll just talk to myself. Why not? I have nothing better to do. I did want to do something though. I'll just sit here. I can edit this out later. I'll wait for somebody to join. Hmm. Oh, we got one person in here. I'm not by myself anymore. Say something, person. Please. You're the only person here. It's just you and I. No, not anymore. I lost the one person I had. How awkward. How awkward, guys. Hello. Welcome to my live stream. Ask something. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk fantasy basketball. I actually want to do something. Oh, we are up to 2 people. Yes. Can you sit through this awkwardness with me as we sit with 2 people and wait for more people to join us? Because if more people join us, we can make this a productive conversation for fantasy basketball purposes. Or you could ask me anything about fantasy basketball, about life. See, we lost one of the people. Now we're down to one again. This is what I get for leaving. I should have at least 5 people. Now I have 0 people. I'm by myself now again. How awkward. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add this. And I'm actually just going to go and discuss the players that I think I won't be drafting this season. That's what I'm going to work on. But again, I'm going to let this live stream go and see if we get anybody in there. 0 people is pathetic and it's hurtful. And it hurts my feelings, to be quite frank with you. Yeah, I could have scheduled it. I could have given people a heads up, but no, I didn't want to do that. Should I make a thumbnail? Maybe a thumbnail will help. Oh, we have somebody. What's up, person? Do you have a question for me? Because I think I'm planning on making a video discussing the players I will not be drafting this season and doing it in real time, just going through the list, analyzing, and together figuring out which players not to draft. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So the players that I won't be drafting as I go through this list in category leagues, let's see. All of these players are draftable. Now, let's look at Paulo Banchero. Paulo Banchero, let's see. He averaged 3 turnovers per game last season. He did get you 1.9 threes, scored almost 26 points per game, over 7 rebounds, over 4 assists. That's great, but the field goal percentage is average on volume scoring for a power forward center. The 1.9 threes per game for a power forward center eligible player is really nice, but the 3 turnovers per game, not so much, especially when he's only getting you 4.8 assists per game. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know that I can justify picking him at an average pick of 14.8 right now. So, given that, I think I'm going to put him as a do not draft. Does he have the potential to take a leap in that regard? Absolutely, he does. Do I think he will? I don't want to gamble. This is one of my top two picks. And with one of my top two picks, I just have to go with somebody I'm really confident in. And for me, he's just not that. So the next player I would be adding to my list as somebody I will not be drafting, this may be a controversial opinion. And I've been wrong before. This is not the first time I've added him to my list, and he actually ended up outproducing it. But spending, he's right now going at an average pick of 18.6. I think that's incredibly high for a player that's over the age of 40. His free throw percentage leaves a lot to be desired. Yes, the points, the rebounds, and the assists are great, over 2 3-pointers per game. He even got you a steal, over half a block. LeBron's never really been much of a shot blocker besides the chase down blocks. The 3.7 turnovers per game, when he's getting that many assists, you just have to forgive that. So LeBron is not really about the production. My concern is his advanced age. Sure, he's one of one. He's made it further than anyone and done better than anyone at this age, but eventually the fall off is going to be sudden. And I don't want to be playing a game of musical chairs with one of my top few picks. So for me, LeBron James has to be a do not draft player. All right, we're going to keep working on this list, and then I will make a video from the list that I came up with right now on this live stream. We're live right now. Let's see. Which other players will I not be drafting? LaMelo Ball, average pick of 28.3. You know, this is a hard one because the good things are so good. You're talking about 25.2 points per game, almost 5 rebounds, 7.4 assists, 3.6 turnovers, but again, pretty decent assists, almost 4 3-pointers per game. He's getting you over a steal per game. The field goal percentage on volume scoring is really poor, but with that many threes, it's forgivable. He's generating a lot of points with the shots he's taking. The free throw percentage is great. What concerns me is the balls do not have healthy legs. None of them do. The dad, his brother, him, it's just, I don't know what it is. He hasn't been healthy. I drafted him last year because of his upside and his production, but he ended up getting injured and missing the majority of the season, and I regretted it. And typically, if a player makes me regret drafting them because I knew they would get injured and then they do get injured, I tend to put them on ice for at least a season and prove to me that they can play a full season before I start considering drafting them again. And at this point, LaMelo Ball has fooled me a few times because his production, when he's healthy, is top of the league production. The problem is he's not often healthy. So because of that, I will have to add LaMelo Ball to my do not draft list. And if you disagree with any of my picks, leave me a comment. Let me know why. Let's have a discussion. Let's build this live stream up. This is something that I want to start doing. And I have to push through the awkwardness of there being 0 people in here right now. All right. So let's see. Who else? will I not be targeting? Josh Giddey in the past would have been a player I would have been apprehensive of, but since his trade to the Bulls, he really stepped his game up. He's a walking triple double threat. It's not going to get you a ton of threes. He does have the opportunity to get you some steals and blocks for the position, and under 3 turnovers for over 7 assists is great. The field goal percentage is average. The free throw percentage less than you want from one of your guards, but also not the worst. It's slightly above average, if anything. He has a big opportunity, so I won't be adding him to my do not draft list. I don't know if he'll be on my preferred list, but at an average pick of 33.4, I think that's pretty close to what he'll be able to produce. So it's a decently safe area to target him. But again, right now, I am discussing players that I will not be targeting in drafts and explaining to you why I will be avoiding them. How about John Morant? Let's see. John Morant, average pick of 38.2. Yeah, I think John Morant definitely has to join this list. Not only is his health questionable consistently, he gets a lot of turnovers, almost 4 turnovers per game. He does get you a lot of assists. The steals are nice, virtually no blocks. The free throw percentage is helpful. Less than 2 3-pointers per game, though. That's pretty below average, I'd say, for a high scoring point guard in 2025, 2026. There's just too many question marks around John Morant's health. And that by itself makes me a little apprehensive to target him. You could do a lot worse than taking him at an average pick of 38.2. That's actually not a terrible range to gamble. But I do think there are other players in that area that I would feel more comfortable targeting, that I'd feel more secure in their production, that I think fit my system a little bit better than John Morant would. And we're still doing the live stream, again, testing the capabilities of this program. And I do believe, actually, let me check. Let me check what this looks like. Let me check live. Yep. I'm checking right now to see what it looks like. Yep, it works. It works. I just tested it. That's cool. All right, so let's go back so that we can continue discussing the players I will not be targeting in drafts. So far we have Paulo Banchero, LeBron James, LaMelo Ball, John Morant. Those are the players I've identified that I won't be targeting in drafts this season. So we're going to continue going through the list, and all of these guys are fairly draftable. So let's bring up Kawhi Leonard. Are we going to include Kawhi Leonard as a do not draft? I don't think so. So average pick of 44.1. My biggest concern would be at this point him being suspended due to that controversy that's going on with the LA Clippers, where apparently they were paying him under the table via a fake company and paying him like $45 million sponsorship money from a fake company in what appears to be allegedly an attempt by the Clippers to circumvent the salary cap, which could have dire implications for the Clippers and maybe for Kawhi Leonard himself. So I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen. So Kawhi Leonard is essentially almost a perfect 9-category player. He can just help you in almost every area. Low turnovers, high steals, over 2 threes per game. He gets you above 3 assists. He gets you close to 6 rebounds. He can score 20 plus points, and he does it on 49%, almost 50% from the field, high free throw percentage. So he's just such a good player that can help you in so many different areas. The issue with Kawhi is his health. He's bound to miss at least 30 games per season, if not more. The Clippers do have a very strong fantasy playoff schedule. So if you take a gamble on Kawhi Leonard at an average pick of 44, is it the end of the world? I don't think so. Given his upside, if you have IL eligibility, you could throw him in there for the beginning of the season and cross your fingers that they save him for the end of the season. And if you can get him at the end of the season producing these sort of numbers, this is the sort of pickup that can really win you your league. So because of that, I will not have Kawhi Leonard as a do not draft. I think this season, even though given his history with injuries, I still think he's worthy of a gamble. So not including him on our do not draft list. Now, a player I am slightly considering putting on this list is Lauri Markkanen. And the reason I want to include him on this list is really it's because of the Utah Jazz. I'm a bit afraid of targeting any players on the Utah Jazz right now. The issue with players on the Utah Jazz right now is the fact that they seem to be tanking, and I don't think the team is much better this season. And when they tank, they come up with these BS injuries to these players, and when you need them most, they are not playing. So this has happened with Lauri Markkanen last year, and it was incredibly stressful to own him. On paper, his production is amazing. You have a power forward eligible player that can hit almost 3 3-pointers per game, very high free throw percentage, very low turnovers. Not a guy that's going to get you assists, steals, or blocks, which also add to the detriment in picking up a player like Lauri Markkanen. So due to the question marks around, his ability to get you steals, blocks, really low field goal percentage, and the huge question marks around the Utah Jazz and the quality of the team and whether they're going to be sitting players or not, I'm going to have to say Lauri Markkanen for me is a do not draft this season. Joel Embiid, average pick of 47.6. Is he worth the gamble? Unlike Kawhi Leonard, I believe that Joel Embiid, I don't think he's worth the gamble. I don't think the team is strong enough to compete for the playoffs, which means he's very unlikely to be playing at the end of the season. And his legs just appear to be cooked. He came into the league with legs that were cooked. And for a big man, he's really pushed through and when playing produces. But at this point, as an aging big man, aging 7-footer with all of the surgeries he's had, I am not very confident in his ability to produce. At an average pick of 47.6, is it the worst gamble in the world? Maybe not. This is a guy that you would have to draft in the top 10, but also this is not the guy that you were drafting in the top 10. As much as I love Joel Embiid and wish him all the health in the world, taking chances like that is what can lose you your entire season when you could have gone with maybe somebody a little safer, maybe like a Josh Hart, where the upside of a Josh Hart maybe is not as high as an Embiid, but you have a safer floor. You have a guy that's consistently healthy. So because of that, Joel Embiid is a person I cannot target. Tyler Hero, is he a do not draft? Maybe not a do not draft, but you definitely want to be careful. He will be missing the first few months of the season. So at best, you want him to be somebody that you pick up and put in your IL. At worst, that's what you want to do. All right, we will add Tyler Hero to our do not draft list right now. Again, because of the injuries, unless he manages to fall to you way later, then it might be worth the gamble at that point. So what other players are we going to add to our do not draft list? Let's see. Every one of these players so far I'm seeing is very draftable. Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr., I would not say he's not a do not draft. His ability to get threes and blocks is one of the best in the league. He's improved his field goal percentage. His free throw percentage for a big man to get you blocks is not bad. And I also think he's still on the upswing of his career. He's still really young. So definitely a player that I would draft. Let's see. Zion Williamson. So Zion Williamson. Would I draft Zion Williamson? That one is a little difficult. My gut tells me no. The good with Zion Williamson is he's so productive. You could see there. He can score. He can rebound. He can get you assists. He's not going to get you any threes. He can get you steals and get you close to a block per game. Three turnovers per game is kind of a lot for a big man, but very efficient from the field. The free throw percentage he hurts you in, so he's more of a punt free throw guy in the first place. And I don't really like guys that hurt my free throw percentage unless they're going to get me a good amount of blocks. And he does not qualify as far as that. So Zion Williamson, I would have to say for me, is a do not draft. I will say he is in tremendous shape. It looks like he lost a ton of weight. And I think that could help him out a lot this season. And at an average pick of 50, the upside is there for him to produce. But again, you can only gamble so much before these blow up in your face. Maybe if I'm not gambling much and I'm playing it safe with all my other picks, then an average pick of 51.1 for Zion Williamson, sure, maybe it's not the end of the world. But I think for my specific purposes, I won't be drafting him this season. I want to see him produce well this season. And then if I do see him have a consistent year, then next year I'll put him back on my draft board. So putting him as a do not draft. Jimmy Butler. Is Jimmy Butler worthy of consideration? That's a tough one. The Warriors do have a strong fantasy basketball playoff schedule this season, and his numbers are really strong. He can get you steals, he can get you a high field goal percentage, high free throw percentage, low turnover, 5.4 assists to 1.3 turnovers. That is the stuff that I love. I love players with a great assist to turnover ratio that are efficient from the field and from free throw. And he gets me steals. He gets me above 5 assists. I can live with the fact he only hits 0.6 3-pointers per game. I can live with it. Hold on. I'll be right back. I got to let my dogs in, and none of you are here anyways. I'll be right back, okay? The one person in here. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry I kept you waiting. So Jimmy Butler, I can't add him to my do not draft list, but I caution you, if you do pick him, be aware he can be very injury prone and miss a lot of time. But when he's on and when he's playing, he's really good. All right. Kristaps Porzingis, another very injury prone player that you can get around that same range. So you could grab him around 54 2.5, which I think, again, for a guy that can get you 2.5 threes and 1.5 blocks per game, I love those sort of unicorns at an average pick of 54.5 on a Hawks team. I think he's a great fit with someone like Trae Young. I think he's going to help that Hawks team out a lot. Is he an injury risk? Yes, but that's why you're picking him at 54.5. If he weren't an injury risk, this is a guy you probably would have to draft in the top 25. So given that, I would say Kristaps Porzingis is very draftable and not a person I would put on my do not draft list. Walker Kessler, also another player you can draft around the same range. I kind of want to put him on the do not draft only because, again, I question the Utah Jazz this season. Will they be resting him to try to compete for lottery balls? I don't know. He's a guy that's better for a punt free throw build. He only got you 52% from free throw, which I'm not a huge fan of. And he's also a big that doesn't get me any assists. He's averaging almost as many turnovers as assists. No threes, no steals. The blocks is nice, but I really like players that can get me threes and blocks and a decent free throw percentage. So I can't say do not draft. I would say draft him if you're doing a punt, free throw, punt, threes build. But if you are not doing a punt, free throw build, I think I would consider Walker Kessler to be not draftable, at least for me this season. Please feel free to ask any questions while you're in here. If I see you ask a question, I will try to address it. If you have any questions about the season, whatever, again, I needed to test out this live stream functionality. I was hoping we would get a better turnout, but again, that's what the testing is for. All right, so let's see. Who else? Who else are we avoiding this season? For those of you now joining us so far on our do not draft list, I've identified Paolo Banchero, LeBron James, LaMelo Ball, John Morant, Lauri Markkanen, Joel Embiid, Tyler Hero, Zion Williamson, and Walker Kessler. Those are the players I will not be targeting in drafts this season. So as we continue going down this list, Michael Porter Jr. at an average pick of 60.4. Michael Porter Jr. for me might be a do not draft player. He doesn't get me enough steals, blocks. He gets you decent threes. The free throw percentage is below average for what I want. The field goal percentage is nice. So if you want a volume scorer that can pad your field goal percentage, he's not the worst target. 18.7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 threes. That's decent production, but he has been historically injury prone. He does have an opportunity to really get a lot of usage on a pretty mediocre Brooklyn Nets team. So I'm a little iffy on putting him as a do not draft, but at an average pick of 60.4, I just think that's a little high for Michael Porter Jr. So if he fell to me, maybe where I could grab him around 80, then I think I would make the gamble. But right now, at an average pick of 60.4, I don't think I can justify picking him there. So I would have to make him a do not draft for me. Hey, and now we have some people joining us. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. I will try to address these questions. I'm experimenting with live streaming, and you being here, even if for 30 seconds, is very helpful. So thank you. And you can see here, this is my list of players that I've identified as do not draft players. That's what I'm going through the list. So by hanging around, hopefully you could get some value out of me analyzing why I'm not drafting these players. Miles Turner, definitely someone I will be targeting heavily this season. Now on the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, one of those players that can get you 2.2 threes per game, 2 blocks per game. Cliff, thank you so much for the wonderful comment, and thank you for hanging around and supporting the work that I'm trying to do here. Like, share, tell your friends. Thank you. But hopefully you can hang around, because these do not draft players, I think in fantasy basketball, sometimes it's more about knowing who not to pick more so than knowing who to pick. Avoiding picking bad players that can hurt your build can be the most crucial thing. So some other do not draft players for me. I'm going to scroll down. Julius Randle. Let's take a look at Julius Randle. So Julius Randle averaged 18.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1.6 threes, which is not bad for a power forward center eligible player. The steals doesn't get you any blocks for a big man. The field goal percentage is pretty good. 48% for a volume scorer of his caliber is not bad at all. The free throw percentage is slightly above average, especially for a big man. So I can't call him a do not draft player. Just be aware he can be very injury prone. He's not going to help you with steals. He's not going to help you with blocks. And on occasion, he can really hurt your turnovers and your percentages. But overall, he averaged out at 2.8 turnovers with almost 3 turnovers, 4.7 assists. I mean, it's a positive assist to turnover ratio, but I really do like a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, personally speaking. So a do not draft, I don't know if I can call him a do not draft, but I probably would want to see him in the 70 range before I consider drafting him. So I won't put him as a do not draft, but proceed with caution. DeMar DeRozan. I can't call him a do not draft. I love the fact that DeMar DeRozan is a volume scorer that can really help my field goal percentage and my free throw percentage at a high level, which I find crucial, especially if I can pair him with someone like Nikola Jokic or some other high volume, high efficiency players. I love that combination. The only concern I have is there are a few high usage players on that team, such as Malik Monk. You also have Zach LaVine. So given that, he doesn't have the appeal he's had in the past, but at an average pick of 65, I think that's a pretty solid range to target DeMar DeRozan. So somebody that I would strongly consider. Now, Jalen Green, average pick of 67.7, finds himself in a new situation on a Phoenix Suns team that no longer has Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Will that open up some opportunity for him? Hey, and for those of you now joining us, feel free to leave a comment, ask any questions. I will try to address any questions you have. What I'm doing at the moment to entertain myself is going down the list of players that I'm not drafting this season. That list is to the left. I'm going to go down the remaining list of these rankings, and then I will later make a video with the players that I identified as do not draft players. So don't feel that you have to stick around if you don't want to. But if you are sticking around, I really appreciate you. All right. So Jalen Green. Yep, there you go. I mean, that's another player right there, Dennis Schroeder, that is going to need the ball in his hands, and I think it does bring down the value of DeMar and LaVine. They're not great off the ball players. I think that's the issue. Malik Monk may be a better off the ball player, but Dennis is not an amazing off the ball player. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, neither one of them are. So I think you have a point in that it's going to hurt all of them. But I do believe they have a strong playoff schedule, and you never know how things shake up as far as health. Zach LaVine historically has not been super healthy. So DeMar DeRozan, out of all of those, is probably the one I would most want on my team. Jalen Green, my ultimate conclusion, would I draft him? 2.5 turnovers, 3.4 assists, almost 3 3-pointers per game is nice, but it cost me because only 42% from the field for a volume scorer is not great. 81% free throw, it's okay for a point guard. I'm not going to be mad at that. But overall, 67.7 seems high to me. I'm not going to call him a do not draft, but again, proceed with caution. He does have a lot of upside in this brand new situation on that Suns team, where essentially it's him and Devin Booker running the show. I think that could be good for him. But again, he doesn't fit the traditional mold that I use, which is very efficient players that get me a lot of steals and blocks. He doesn't really fit that. DeAndre Ayton, average pick of 68.4. I like his situation a lot on the Los Angeles Lakers team. I think playing with LeBron and Luka Doncic is going to do wonders for him. All right, so let's see what other players we can target. Jordan Poole, is on the New Orleans Pelicans. Last season got you 3 turnovers per game. Really elite free throw percentage at 88%. He had a bounce back season last season. The season before last, he was awful. Last season, he was productive. Will he have an opportunity to produce? DeJounte Murray's probably out the majority of the season, which does open up a lot of usage. They got rid of CJ McCollum. Jordan Poole came back in that trade. So at an average pick of 72, I think there's some upside there, but the areas in which he hurts you, such as your field goal percentage and your turnovers, low assists, he can hurt you a lot. I don't think I'll add him to my do not draft list, at least not right now. Paul George. Paul George. Are we adding Paul George to the do not draft list? I would have to say yes. Paul George, I drafted him heavily last season, believing in his upside, believing in his fit on the 76ers, and he was injured the majority of the season, never got it going. And almost every team in which I drafted him, I ended up struggling because I could have picked someone safer. In the past, this was a guy that you needed a top 15 pick for because he produced at a top 10 level. I think those days are in the past. He's an aging superstar. Feeling really T-Mac-ish to me right now. I don't know that his legs will be healthy enough to really bring any value to the contract he's under. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him getting waived at some point, just like the Bucks did with Damian Lillard. I think they're going to give it this season to see if they can make it work. Because when he's good, he's great. 1 steals per game is top of the league stuff right there. 43% from the field was hurtful. Only 16 points per game, which is very low for a Paul George season. This is a guy you normally drafted because you wanted 21 points per game or more. 4.3 assists to 2.6 turnovers is not the worst in the world. Less assists than I want to see. Just too many question marks. He's on the wrong side of 30. Too many question marks around his health. Too many question marks around the success of the 76ers this season. They overcommitted to him and Joel Embiid. So the future does not look bright for the 76ers, which means potentially this guy getting shut down when you need him most. At an average pick of 77.4, I think you can do better. Now, if he falls to me at 95 to 100 because no one wants to pick him up, then yes, at that point, I think he's worth the gamble. But at an average pick of 77, I don't think I can do it. Cam Thomas is not a player I wouldn't call him a do not draft, but don't let the 24 points per game fool you. He's not going to help you with steals. He's not going to get you blocks. He's getting you 2.5 turnovers to only 3.8 assists, which is less than I like. Really poor field goal percentage. The free throw percentage is nice. So if you need a volume score because you didn't have enough scores and you want to shore up your scoring, then I guess at an average pick of 76.1, you can do worse than Cam Thomas. He's always going to put up points. What I don't think he'll do is help you in the peripheral stats, and the players I really like drafting and stacking are the ones that do. And if you disagree with anyone that I've added to my do not draft list, let me know in the comments. RJ Barrett, is he draftable? 63% free throw, less than 2 3-pointers per game, under 1 steal per game, almost 3 turnovers per game, 5.4 assists. Not terrible. I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's not a build that I really like, especially at an average pick of 78.1. I guess the upside is there. I just don't like players that don't really get me steals, blocks, and also hurt my free throw percentage. That's a combination of things I'm not a fan of. So because of that, for my personal taste and for how I like to draft, I think I would add RJ Barrett as a do not draft. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, any comments, let me know in the chat. All right, Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard, average pick of 79.6. That is a hell of a sleeper right there. Peyton Pritchard, I think he's going to be in a lot of league winners. Peyton Pritchard, with Jason Tatum gone, has the opportunity to have massive usage, can hit a ton of threes, real Steph Curry-like. He's like a don't know, middle class Steph Curry almost. He can score, get you some assists. He can get a ton of threes. He can do so efficiently. 3.2 threes per game on 47% from the field. That's amazing. Only one turnover per game. So that's amazing as well. He got you close to a steal per game. He's not a guy I'm picking because of that. I'm picking him for his ability to get a bunch of threes, do so efficiently. He can light up in a hurry. Average pick of 79.6. Like, this is what I mean. If I can pick Peyton Pritchard, am I going to pick Paul George? It just doesn't make sense to not go for the upside of someone like Peyton Pritchard, who my guess is actually going to climb up draft boards. So I would, if you want him, now's a good time to target him, because I wouldn't doubt if closer to the season you see him going in the top 50. And I think he's going to eat too. You're absolutely right, Cliff. He is going to eat. All right. What other players do we want to avoid? Let's see. Let's analyze Brandon Ingram, also on the Toronto Raptors. I got burned drafting Brandon Ingram last season. He had a terrible season last year. He missed the majority of the season. Then he got traded to the Raptors, who were tanking, and then they just shut him down for the rest of the season. So he was essentially laid an egg for you if you drafted him last season. So I am a little spiteful because of that. 5.2 assists, 3.8 turnovers. I do not like that mix. That is a lot of turnovers for how low assists he's getting me. Yes, he can score above 20 points per game, but the field goal percentage is average. The free throw percentage is nice. No steals, no blocks. He's draftable. I guess he's worth the gamble, but I got burnt last season, so I probably won't be targeting him. If the Raptors are successful and he can remain healthy, he does have the potential to kind of put Kevin Durant light type numbers, but it seems like too much of a gamble, and it feels like almost every season he's injured, at least from my experience. So I think I'll add him to my do not draft list. Mark Williams. This is a tough one. So Mark Williams, when he is playing, he's incredibly productive. You see last year averaged 15.3 points, 10.2 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, only 1.6 turnovers, which is great considering he gets you 2.5 assists, gets you 0.7 steals, which I will take. Field goal percentage above 60%, amazing, and a free throw percentage above 80%. What is not to love about this guy? Amazing production when he plays. The problem is, though, when he plays. Mark Williams was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Lakers nixed the trade and said, nope. They did his physicals and said he was cooked, and that the Hornets had undersold his health issues. So the Lakers, needing a big man desperately after trading Anthony Davis, were so concerned by this guy's medicals that they canceled the trade and proceeded to go to the playoffs without a real big man. So that's incredibly concerning. He is on a Suns team. That's a great situation for him, playing with Devin Booker and Jalen Green. I think that's a great fit for him. But he's a huge question mark as far as health. I can't call him a do not draft. The potential is so high, but you might get burned. This is a high risk, kind of high reward pick. We're still high enough where you can get safer picks, but the upside, if he hits his upside, he can help you win your league. And the Suns have a pretty strong playoff schedule, I am pretty sure. So can't call him a do not draft, but man, he's getting pretty close. Fred VanVleet, have to put him as a do not draft. He may be out for the majority of the season, and he was already regressing anyways. I really like him because he can get you a decent amount of assists, a lot of steals, low turnovers. I love that combination, especially with the decent free throw percentage. Kills your field goal percentage, but it's going to be irrelevant. He probably won't play this season, so avoid Fred VanVleet. Benedict Mathurin will have a huge opportunity this season. Not a guy that's going to get you steals or blocks, but at an average pick of 91.1, I think there's a lot of upside to target him this season. So I think that's a good range for him. Would not call him a do not draft by any means. All right, I'm going to do a few more, and then I think I'm going to end this video. It's been a nice little experiment putting this list together. like I said, I'll be making a more complete video later on. I just really wanted to test the live streaming capabilities of my channel. And thank you for being here and helping me do that. So let's go down and see if there's anybody else that I would caution drafting. Let's see CJ McCollum. Sorry. So CJ McCollum, average pick of 98.5. He can be very productive. He can score with the best of them, can get you a bunch of threes, doesn't get you steals or blocks. Not a ton of assists for a point guard, but he's also not very turnover prone, which is nice. The percentages, not great. My concern, he's on a Wizards team that I think is going to be really bad, and he's an aging veteran, which is kind of the same situation he was with the Pelicans. He can be hit or miss. I had him last year, and I kept trying to trade him, and no one would trade for him. He always has weird injuries. Like I think he's collapsed his lung 2 different years that I've owned him. He tends to have some leg issues where he misses some time. When he's playing, he's very productive. And at an average pick of 98.5, the upside might be worth the gamble. So I don't want to tell you not to draft him, but at least be cautious. Another similar player that is very injury prone but can be productive when healthy is Devin Vassell. Last year averaged 16 points, 2.5 threes, 1.3 steals, 44% from the field is average. Free throw percentage is also average for a guard. Not terrible, not great. I like his upside, and I think he's a great fit on that Spurs team. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him take a leap. He is a pretty good ball thief, and I think that's something that's very valuable in fantasy basketball. So his ability to hit threes, get steals is something that I like. So somebody I would probably target, especially with an average pick of 99.7, would not call him a do not draft. So Andrew Wiggins, though, would I draft Andrew Wiggins? While he is on a Miami Heat team that will give him opportunity to produce, he's just never been a player I've been a big fan of. Sure, he can score, but 2.6 assists to 1.7 turnovers. I don't like that ratio at all. He doesn't really rebound the ball for somebody that's 6'8" and has his size. 1 steal per game. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing. Say it's pretty average. 0.8 blocks per game. For a non-big, I'm not mad at 0.8 blocks per game, but 44% from the field is average and 76% free throw. Very mediocre. I don't think I'll be targeting Andrew Wiggins. I typically do not target Andrew Wiggins because, again, I like players that get me a lot of steals, blocks, and get me decent percentages. And he's not really doing enough in those areas for me to be comfortable with him. Bradley Beal. Actually, make sure we add him to our do not draft list right now. He's been added to our do not draft list. And again, if you just joined, here's my do not draft list of players I've identified as ones that I will not be targeting this season. And if you like these live streams, do me a favor, leave a comment, leave a like so that I can continue doing them throughout the season and hopefully building up the number of people that join. But I like that it's just us. It's just us right now. And you can take this to your league and dominate. That's my goal for you. All right. We'll do a few more. Let's look at Bradley Beal. He is on a Clippers team that do have a strong playoff schedule. Now, when healthy, Bradley Beal produces in the categories that I value. Really high field goal percentage, decent free throw percentage, less than 2 turnovers per game, half a block per game. I love that from a guard. 1.1 steals. He's getting me above that steal per game. Close to 2 3-pointers per game. He used to be better than that, but he has declined over the last few seasons. The concerns with the Clippers are there are a lot of mouths to feed there. James Harden is going to have the ball a bunch. They have Chris Paul now. You have Kawhi Leonard. You have a lot of players. You have Ivica Zubac, who's taking a huge leap and is probably going to be getting the ball. They have John Collins now. They have a lot of great offensive pieces, and Bradley Beal may be the odd man out at an average pick of 103.4 with his health history and also his questionable role on this Clippers team. I think there are probably safer picks at an average pick of 103.4. So for me, I have to add him as a do not draft. And let's see, we're going to discuss maybe one or two more players that I will be avoiding. Aaron Gordon, will I be avoiding him? No, Aaron Gordon, average pick of 104.8. I think he can be a strong player. He used to hurt in areas that I valued, but he's improved. His free throw percentage has improved. His field goal percentage has improved. Becoming a champion has really helped his game. So I think he's a decent glue player around that range. All right. Let's analyze a couple more and see who we want to avoid drafting entirely. Let's see. Let's look at Jabari Smith Jr., average pick of 119. And I think this is going to be my last one for right now. If you have any questions before I wrap this video up, leave it in the comments and I'll get to it before I wrap this video up. But Jabari Smith Jr., average pick of 119. Am I going to put him as a do not draft? So what's the good? The good is he can get you threes for a big man. Not a great shot blocker. On occasion, he'll have games where he'll get 2 to 3, and he shows the potential and the length to be a decent shot blocker, but he's never really realized it. 1.1 assists to 1.1 turnovers is essentially a wash. And now they've added Kevin Durant into the mix, which really kind of eats up a lot of the minutes that he would have gotten, because now you also have Alperen Sengun in that forward position, also getting a lot of usage and a lot of touches. Jabari Smith Jr., I think, might be a do not draft for me this year, unless he falls, I'd say, 135, 140. Average pick of 119, not terrible. But last season, when he was bad, he was pretty bad. He hurt your field goal percentage significantly and just wouldn't do enough in the other areas to make him worth the headache. He also got injured last year, missed some time. And every time it seemed he was getting it going, the consistency wasn't there. So because of that, I think I had to make him a do not draft for me. And all right, I think that's it. Unfortunately, now we have 5 people on the stream now that I want to end the video. But the whole time that I've been here, but you know what? That's how this YouTube game works, I guess. If you have any questions before I leave, now is your time to ask them. I've been live for 52 minutes now. This has been a great experiment. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments. Appreciate you. I'm ending the stream now. Have a great rest of your day.